Hi, this is Amber Matusik with Art2Ride, and I am here with Mystery again. This is a more recent video. I think it was taken at the very end of October. And as you can see, Mystery comes out now and will walk nicely on the lunge line most of the time. Every once in a while she's full of energy, but and I'm working here on just getting her to walk around nicely, soften a little bit, hopefully get a little deeper with her stretch. She's still working on getting a slightly deeper stretch where she can poke her nose out and down. So in the very beginning when I start her out, I try to do a little walk work with her on the lunge line and get her to soften her jaw and pull. So that's what I'm doing here. This is a more normal lunge session for her as far as how she looks now, a year after that first video that I just put out. As you can see, she still does a little opening and closing of the jaw, little bit of head twisting. Still trying to take and give a little bit on the lunge line, get her to soften all the way down. That's a better stretch right there. It reaches down. Start her into the trot here. You can see that she's still a little hollow, but not as hollow as she was a year ago. So she still has her head up a little bit, but it's not up above the vertical anymore. It's just up and out. So as we start into the trot session here, I'm taking and giving on the lunge line, trying to get a little softer, deeper stretch from her, and I'm also working on keeping the activity coming through from behind. And as I send her on, she canters a little bit. The canter is still not good at all, but sometimes the canter does help the trot work. So sometimes I will do a little bit of canter to see if it helps with her trot. And this time I wouldn't say it helped all that much, but maybe a little bit more activity here after the canter. Still just trying to work on getting her to soften her jaw a little bit more. I think a lot of these horses with these really thick necks have a harder time with that. Less likely that you're going to break them over in the third vertebrae, but they're just a little bit harder to get to really soften up. So as I take and give, it does help push her haunches to the outside of the circle. It creates a little shoulder in on the circle, and that does get her inside hind underneath the body a little further, which does help create a little bit more of a stretch. Now you can see she is reaching down a little bit more here after doing some of that taking and giving. And she's definitely got decent activity from behind. Now this is a horse that doesn't normally ever track up into her front footprint. She's got a little bit of a long body. So if you're looking purely on the footfalls, then you will say, oh, well, she's not tracking up, so does that mean that she's not working over her back? And I don't think that's always the case. I think, sometimes horses that are long through the back and have, not a lot of, she's really straight behind, so not a lot of bend through the back legs. She can be soft in the front and swingy, and you can see even the back lifting and dropping and her engaging through her abdominals, but she's still not tracking up into her front footprints. She does do a decent job at the walk. She will overtrack at the walk. I don't know if you guys saw that in the walk portion, but here in the trot, I'm still just trying to get that little bit deeper, her to just let go a little bit more and really reach through her head and neck. Now, sometimes I'll let her really slow down to get that deeper, softer stretch, but then she quits coming through from behind, so I really, it needs to be something from behind that comes from behind. So I think right here I let her slow down a little bit, and sometimes, she'll relax a little bit and start to reach more, and then you can increase the energy from behind, and she'll maintain it a little bit better. So I've approached it from different angles for this horse, just trying to get, and oftentimes the relaxation for her does need to really just come first. So even letting her, really kind of slow and get deeper in the stretch, and then increasing the activity, in general, tended to be a better way to go for her. And now it's getting a little bit better. She's a little bit deeper in that stretch. I think she just kind of decided to do a little canter on her own right here. So I just kind of let her canter for a minute, and then I'm going to bring her back down. It's actually not bad, a little bit better than that first canter that she had. She's softening just a little bit even in the canter here. And that time I feel like it may have helped the trot a little bit more than the first time. And she looks a little bit more like she's reaching out through the base of her neck here. And definitely got good activity from behind, swinging up. That's pretty nice there for her as she reaches out and down. And as you can see, just generally overall, the whole picture of the horse, she's more consistent now than she was a year ago. It took that whole session a year ago to get, just even a little bit of what I'm getting now after a much shorter time. So as I changed directions, she just started trotting out, and I don't force her to come back to the walk. I usually just, if she starts out trotting, I let her trot. I try to keep her in the walk when I start her out on the lunge line to develop a little relaxation in the beginning, but if she just breaks, then I go with the flow. Now here she broke to the canter in this direction, and you can see it's pretty hollow. She's got her head to the outside, and she's definitely not yet at a place where she can canter very well. I think that will take a while for her. And again, I'm coming back to just trying to get her to soften through her jaw and pull. But you can see she's much better at the end of the lunge line now. Like, she stays much more consistently out to the end of the line. And in general, the whole rhythm of it is much, much better than a year ago. Just trying to create a little activity there. I've been working on more and more of that, really trying to create a little bit more bounce, a little bit more activity from behind. This is nice here. You can see she's relaxing a little bit more, starting to reach a little bit more. You can see there's a little more swing happening. Still just trying to get that little bit more down in the stretch. That's it right there, where she just gets a little bit deeper and a little bit more bounce in her step. You can see it right there. Definitely getting better here. So as she started to get better, I let her come break back down to the walk. And now, since I didn't get to work any walk at all during that first part, I'm asking for a little activity here in the walk, trying to get a little bit deeper stretch here in the walk. And that's pretty nice right there, where she's really swingy, starting to reach. It's really nice for her. Good activity. And you can see she really stretches out from the base of her neck, that whole neck all the way down, and pokes her nose out. There's no breaking over in the neck. So decently happy with that lunge session. I've had slightly better lunge sessions, but I've also had worse. So I would say that was an average lunge session. So I went ahead and got on, and she was a little bit opinionated on this day as far as listening to my leg. So I was trying to get her to soften her jaw, reach for the contact, and move away from the leg. And she has a tendency to be a little pushy at times and really try to push into go a certain direction and or do a certain thing. So you sometimes have to get a little firmer with your aids to get what you want. So right here I was just trying a little bit of a leg yield. She kind of tends to bounce around a little bit. We joke around about her diagonals because sometimes when she's going across the diagonal of the arena, she's really like back and forth. She's not going in a straight line at all. So this is pretty decent for the walk. I would like to see her even come down a little bit deeper eventually in the stretch. And it's getting a little bit better there. And right there was pretty nice when she really reaches all the way out and down. So what I'm doing here in the walk work is just trying to establish that she's moving away from my inside leg. So doing a little bit of these leg yields. So I did one in the other direction, and now I'm doing one in this direction. And she's not at a level that I expect a whole lot of crossover, so, I let her lead with the shoulder a little bit and just expect a small amount of, expect her to yield to my leg and then move over towards the rail and not just turn towards the rail, but not like a huge, deep crossover under the body, because I just don't think she's capable of that. Yeah, but the walk is pretty decent right here. She has moments where she really reaches out. So leg yield in each direction was pretty decent. So I head into the trot, and she does come up a little in this transition. So I'm just working on, again, following her up with my hands, keeping that contact until I feel her start to give a little bit and soften so that I can give back and let her down. And on the circle there, what happens is you start on the circle, and then she realizes what you're going to do, and then she'll just sort of dive in. So I'm trying to get her off of that inside leg on the circle. So she comes around the corner here and we start into the circle. I'm trying to get her to leg yield away from that inside leg. Usually once I get a decent response where she actually does step away from the inside leg, then she really will reach out and down for the contact. So it's just trying to get that response. So I'm using my right leg there, and she's not happy about it, so she was kicking out a little bit towards that right leg. She didn't want to move away from the right leg. I'm not going to make a big deal about that. I'm just going to keep going and keep asking her to step away from that leg. It's decent right there. She starts to reach down. Right there was pretty nice in the corner. She had a moment where she let go all the way. And again, she's trying to bulge out on the ring right there. And so I'm having to give her a little taps, trying to get a response from my leg. And she's not quite sure she wants to do it, so just come right back to it, just trying to get her off of my leg here. Trying to get her to soften her jaw a little bit better. Now she's rushing a little there down the long side. I like the amount of activity. I just would like to not feel like she's rushing to get away, or that she's actively swinging. And this is a horse you can really feel. It's all about the flow of energy. So when she's really flowing nicely forward from your leg, then she doesn't weeble wobble on the diagonals of the ring. She just flows across the diagonal. But when she's not, when the energy is stuck somewhere, then you can really feel it, and it's hard to get her to turn or to go in a direction. So it's all about that flow of energy. You just want to feel like you're creating a nice amount of energy from behind, and you want to feel that flow just coming through the body. As she's still kicking out a little bit at my leg over here. She was quite opinionated in the beginning about not wanting to move away from my leg, I should say. I just stuck with it. Just don't make a big deal about it. Just keep holding it there until I actually get the response I want. So it's kind of like when you use the whip, if you don't get any response at all, you need to use the whip again until you get the response you're looking for. They're not going to learn what the whip aid meant. Now this is getting pretty nice. That's actually a really nice stretch for her and really good activity for the level of stretch. It was on that short side. And here too, she's starting to soften her jaw there. Really nice there. Good swing for the amount of, you really feel the energy flowing through her right here. Really good right there with that stretch. That's really nice right there across the diagonal for her. That's really good right there, where she really reaching out and down. That's good right there for her. Really good. You can see she starts to get a little bit of bounce. There's a little bit of lift up, where she's lifting me up a little bit more. That's good there. Actively seeking down and out with her nose. Really good right there. So it started out a little bit hollow, and she was definitely not wanting to listen to my leg, but as she goes along, it's getting better and better, and the stretch here is actually getting really nice, even better than it was on the lunge line, which I do find with this horse. She will tend to stretch a little bit deeper with a rider than she does on the lunge line. And really good diagonals today. So I start across the diagonal, except for that very first one that I tried to do. Now the energy is flowing through really well, like she's just reaching out and flowing across the ring. This is really good right here. I was really happy with how this ride ended up. So it started, like I said, it started a little bit tense and definitely not wanting to listen, but that's a really good stretch right there where she wants to reach out and down. Super happy with that. Another diagonal, and you can see there isn't much change as I change directions to the new side. Her rhythm didn't change. She just stayed in the same level of stretch, and she just reached across the arena. So that's really good for her right there. And again, right here, really good, really nice, deep stretch for her. And you can see if she starts to come up, I follow her up with my hands and just take a little feel in the corner of her mouth. Just trying to be like the sham bone and get her to soften her jaw and reach back down again. So that was really good trot work for her at the end. So I just end with a little bit more walk work here, just trying to get that extra few inches of stretch where she really pokes out and gets a little bit deeper through her body and underneath her body, a little bit more lift. So that's really good activity right here in the walk, really good energy flow as it comes up and over, and she's reaching out really nicely, poking out through her nose. Really happy with this walk work that I got at the end. Was really nice for her. And another decent diagonal. Sometimes a little harder at the walk to keep that flow of energy coming through. That was good. Let's try to use my back here and there. I come back with my shoulders a little bit, just trying to get her underneath herself. Really nice right here though, just complete. You can see she's really relaxed through her jaw and pull, really reaching out and down. I'm very active from behind here in the walk. Really nice walk work. Thank you all for watching, and look forward to hopefully we'll see some more of Mystery soon.